Okay. Hi everyone. This is this is really hard to say. I've gone back and forth about whether to even film this, let alone share it. But the weight of it all has become unbearable. I need to get this out. I'm here to confess something that I'm deeply, deeply ashamed of. Something that goes against everything I believe in, everything I thought I was. I cheated. I cheated on my partner Mark with a complete stranger while I was on a business trip. Mark and I have been together for 7 years, 7 incredible years. He's my rock, my best friend, the person I always imagined building a future with. Our relationship wasn't perfect, no one's is, but it was solid, or so I thought. We had our routines, our inside jokes, that comfortable intimacy that comes from knowing someone's soul. I loved him. I still do, which makes what I did so much more confusing and despicable. The trip was for a conference in a city I'd never been to. Bright lights, busy streets, the kind of place that feels exciting and isolating all at once. My company had put me up in one of those huge, anonymous corporate hotels. Days were packed, back-to-back meetings, networking events, all that jazz. I was focused, professional, doing well. But the evenings stretched out, long and a little lonely, despite being surrounded by hundreds of other conference attendees. I'd call Mark sometimes, but the time difference made it difficult, and I didn't want to bore him with the minutia of my work. So, after a long day of presentations and small talk, I often found myself unwinding alone at the hotel bar. Just a quiet drink, scrolling through my phone, trying to decompress. That's where I met him. Let's call him Alex. He was from a different company, attending the same conference. He saw me alone, nursing a glass of wine, and just came over. It was innocent enough at first. We talked about work, the terrible conference food, the city. He was charming, genuinely funny, and he listened. Really listened. In a way I hadn't felt listened to in a long time. Excited. Maybe it was the travel, the slight detachment from my usual life, but there was an instant connection, a spark that was undeniable. We ended up talking for hours that night, long after the bar had quieted down. We had another drink, then another. The alcohol certainly played a part, lowering my inhibitions, blurring the edges of my resolve. But it wasn't just the alcohol. There was something intoxicating about being seen by fresh eyes, about being someone completely new to a stranger. No history, no expectations, just two people enjoying each other's company in a fleeting, temporary bubble. It felt thrilling, like stepping into a scene from a movie, a brief escape from the reality of my responsibilities and my committed life back home. He walked me back to my floor, and we lingered in the hallway outside my room. The air was thick with unspoken tension. Every fiber of my being screamed, "No," warned me of the precipice I was teetering on. Mark, my future, everything I cherished, it flashed through my mind. But there was another voice, tiny, insidious, Auyus whispering yes. Curious, a hunger for something new, something forbidden, something that made me feel alive in a way I hadn't realized I was missing. Sad, it was a purely selfish, reckless urge. Sighs, and I gave in. He kissed me. It was electrifying, different, new. And then we were inside my room. I won't go into graphic details, but it was a complete surrender, a primal, raw act driven by a mix of desire, curiosity, and that potent cocktail of alcohol and a desperate need for a thrill. For those few hours, I wasn't me. I wasn't Mark's girlfriend. I was just a woman experiencing something intensely new and exciting. The forbidden nature of it all only heightened the sensation, making it feel more urgent, more profound in that moment. There was a rush, an adrenaline spike, a total abandon that swept away every rational thought, every moral compass. It was a lightning bolt, and it felt absolutely incredible and terrifying all at once. The next morning, the thrill evaporated the second my eyes opened. Alex was still asleep beside me. The room, which had felt so anonymous and liberating just hours before, now felt cold, sterile, and damning. The guilt hit me like a physical blow. A wave of nausea, shame, and immediate regret washed over me. What had I done? Who was this person lying next to me? Who was I? Whispers. I slipped out of bed as quietly as I could, dressed quickly, and managed to wake him gently. He was understanding, slightly awkward. We exchanged a few mumbled words, an agreement to pretend it never happened, and then he left. Sighs. The door clicked shut, sealing in my secret and leaving me alone with the crushing weight of my betrayal. The rest of the trip was a blur of forced smiles and internal torment. Every mile on the plane journey home felt like another layer of lead settling onto my chest. I rehearsed my lies, practiced my cheerful, "I missed you" greeting for Mark, even as my stomach churned with self-loathing. When I finally saw Mark at the airport, his smile, it was like a physical punch to the gut. He hugged me tightly, kissed me, said he was so happy I was back. And I hugged him back, forcing a smile, feeling like the most heinous fraud alive. His warmth, his genuine affection, only amplified the darkness inside me. It felt like I was wearing a mask, a smile painted over a gaping wound. And that's where I am now, weeks later. The guilt isn't going away. It's a living, breathing thing that follows me everywhere. It sits at our dinner table, lies beside me in bed, whispers in my ear when Mark tells me he loves me. I can't look him in the eye without feeling like a despicable liar. Every sweet gesture from him feels like a dagger. I pick fights sometimes, just to create a distraction from the secret, or because I feel like I deserve his anger, even if he doesn't know why. I replay that night over and over again in my head. The bar, the drinks, Alex's laugh, the walk down the hallway. I try to understand why. Was it boredom? Was it something missing in our relationship? Was it just the perfect storm of loneliness, alcohol, and opportunity? I don't have an answer. I wish I did. All I know is that in one night, I shattered a fundamental part of who I am, and I put a ticking time bomb at the heart of my loving, stable relationship. The fear of being caught is constant, but the burden of keeping this secret is almost worse. It's isolating, suffocating. I feel like I'm walking around with a giant, invisible stain on my soul. I don't know what to do. Do I confess to Mark and risk destroying everything? Do I carry this secret forever, letting it eat away at me until I'm an empty shell? I'm so lost. All I know is that the brief, fleeting thrill of that night has been replaced by a lifetime of regret and an almost unbearable, crushing guilt. It wasn't worth it. Nothing is worth this feeling.